All right, guys, Shotty T here. Slight correction. Last war I had posted that we won. We actually lost that war. So I'm just posting that results there. But anyway, we're starting off here. We got a new rank 5 Sorcerer Supreme. We're going to debut her for this next war. This is war number 3 for the season. As you see, that loss put us back into tier 5. By the way, we were on the edge of tier 5 and tier 4. It seemed like we won the first war, we went to tier 4. We lost the second war, went back to tier 5. So the opponent is stubborn. And right now I'm highlighting the opponents that I plan on fighting this war, assuming that the war is not decided before we finish the mini bosses. And it actually ends up being the case here. Actually, the results that I posted in the last video was the actual results of this war, where they actually left a couple of sections completely open in our third battle group. So really the war was decided before our group ever even attacked the mini bosses. So, and you'll see that reflected at the very end on the last fight. So we're gonna bring two. Now I've had Matt Dino at rank 5 for about a couple of months now. I don't think I've brought him into war yet. I think I did in the off season, but this is the first time I'm bringing him in for the actual season. So we got 2 debuts here with Magneto and Sorcerer Supreme. So the first fight here, gonna be fighting against a Darkhawk, who is a metal champ. And this is a perfect matchup for Magneto. Just gonna parry heavy all fight. And because he's a metal champ, the ability accuracy reduction is reduced. Also, if Magneto has a class disadvantage, he basically ignores that as well. So just phenomenal matchup. So good opportunity to, I guess, bring in Magneto for his debut. As I get more familiar with him, I'll probably use him in more fights, but I only use him for 2 fights this war. It's going to be basically matchups that are tailor-made for him. I do bring him in. I do experiment with him on the final boss fight, but by the time we got to the boss, the war was decided. So really, I mean, I didn't one-shot Doom at all. I just went with it just to see how far I could take him down. Because I guess on a stun immune note, it's hard to charge your heavies like that. So otherwise, it'll be a great Doom counter. But again, there are probably ways to work around that. Just have to get familiar. But you're going to see some crazy damage here. As you can see, at 35 prowess charges and instantly KO'd the opponent. Now, the next fight here, as you saw during the end of that fight, I had a notification from the Alliance member. And unfortunately, this Mole Man fight, I go in with Sorcerer Supreme, and I got like tons of notifications for that fight. I ended up having to just hard stop that fight. So what happened is, my thought process is I was going to take in Sorcerer Supreme, put a slow debuff on him, so I don't have to worry about the Unstoppable. But the one thing I forgot about is that he still shrugs off debuffs, including Unstoppable, so it ended up just not being a good matchup. But so like I said, and having all the notifications didn't help. So then the light bulb dawned on me. I said, why didn't I not just bring Storm for this fight? Because the thing about Storm is that when an opponent shrugs off a stun, they get passively stunned. You saw the very first stun, he got passively stunned when he tried to shrug it off. And I think that's the only one he actually shrugs off the whole fight, ironically. And now I do parry to get rid of Stubborn. Just parry his the first hit of his special. So the fight becomes much easier with her. I don't have to worry about trying to build up to a SP1 or a slow. Because every time I put a slow on him, he literally just shrugged it off. So, like I said, the fight was just very choppy. So that's the reason why I didn't record it. Like I said, it was very choppy. Like I said, I had notifications left and right. But I probably should have just turned off those notifications. But I usually don't expect that many in one fight, though. But anyway, yeah, this fight, as you see, is going pretty straightforward. So I go ahead and knock him down so that way I can have that passive fury. And hopefully the SP3 can kill him here. Yeah, Storm Pyramid X, man, she's she's becoming almost a staple in my war groups now. In most wars when it's convenient enough to do so, because she's not a bad war champ, especially that ability to shrug off those debuffs. I mean, that's pretty clutch. Now this next fight is Ebony Maw. Now I decided because I had lost that half health that last fight, I said, might as well try to use this fight to gain that health back. And boy, did this fight almost backfire, because I left the weakness, the long distance relationship link up so that way I could willpower myself into healing. And plus, she's a stubborn attacker, but so if I parry the opponent, then I'll actually gain those buffs. So the idea here was to place a slow on him, so that way if he does have his unstoppable heavy, I could just fight through it. But I just couldn't line up the specials with the runes, and then I made a rookie mistake there. Forgot about the power transfer on the node, so that's where the fight started to get very shaky. And then this special took forever, and he punished my heavy, my special with the falter. So we tried again, and this time we made sure we had enough. So really the thing I got myself with quite a bit is with the falter mechanic, and now I'm cornered. I can't. So we're just doing a lot of dexing and dodging here. Now we're faltered again. So I was trying to just get myself out of the corner, and then we get combo, and I thought this was gonna kill me. And right now, I mean, he's just being relentless at this point. And finally, I get myself some space. I said normally Human Torch is a great matchup here, but based off my path layout, I really couldn't afford to bring Human Torch. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this war is still in the middle of the Abyss. That's another reason why I didn't bring him to Torch, because he wasn't available. So, but yeah, I mean, but I have a deep enough roster where I could still bring alternative attackers, but obviously Human Torch would have come in much easier for that fight. But the main thing is we didn't die. So, but that was very torturous. But once again, we got Storm here on the Korg at the Mixmaster. As you guys saw in the previous video, this a tailor-made fight for Storm Pyramid X, so we're gonna have her for this fight once again. I'm gonna go ahead and put some boost on because I do have a couple of fights ahead. Just want to go ahead and be prepared for. So we go ahead and apply just I think we just use the smaller boost here. As you can see, I still got quite a bit left over even after the Abyss run. I still have quite a few boosts. So I think I'm really towards the end of my Abyss run with this particular war. And the reason why the Abyss took multiple days, because I don't have to focus to fight 5 hours in a row. So, but as you can see there, now this particular fight, you do see quite a bit where the shrugging off, I believe because he has a high sig, so he was shrugging off quite a bit my efforts to parry him, which causes him to be passively stunned for an extended period of time. So it's just a tailor-made fight once again. And this fight is not going as clean as the one last war, so the prowess is actually building up. So I have to kind of worry about that a little bit when he throws this SP1 not to get hit. And just a little bit out of rhythm here because a couple of times I could have punished his heavy, but I didn't. But at times I've been seeing, whenever I'm delayed in trying to punish a heavy, I go in and then I get parried. So I believe that's probably the reason why I didn't go in right away, because I wasn't as crisp in reacting to the end of his heavy. Like watching it, you can see where I had my opening, but I think when I was in the moment of that fight, I wasn't quick enough to go in, so I decided to just play it safe and conservative and not go in. But as you can see, if you're watching this, you can see where I had my openings to punish his heavy. But as you can see, I'm doing the 5-hit combos because I have the passive cold snap, which prevents evade. So, and now I got him over 2 bars of power. Just gonna go ahead and debate this after this combo here. Get rid of the rock stacks once again. Now we're gonna go ahead and bait that SP2 here. All right. And still doing 5-hit combos because of that cold snap. Like I said, lasts just long enough where I can build myself to another bar of power. I can just keep that cycle. So it's no, because you really don't have to go to 2 bars of power with her in this fight. Just keep rinse and repeat the SP1 because it has enough damage in itself, especially when you build up those prowess charges yourself. And plus you have the 5-minute timer, so really you got plenty of time to be patient. So this next fight here, we got a stealthy. So I believe I decided to go with Sorcerer in this fight. I really could have gone with either one of the champs, really, because he could have worked for Magneto because he's metal. Of course, with Storm because of the slow mechanic, the cold snap. But I believe I decided to go with Sorcerer here again because it's not a difficult fight. I said, why not? And plus, I could cheese heal if necessary with this node with the crumbling armor. I don't know if I took advantage of that or not. Like I said, it's been a while since I did this war because I'm now doing the voiceover recording because of course I recorded all these fights at the time, but just I was busy loading and recording all those Abyss videos, so now that all of those are loaded and on my channel, now I'm going back in live recording all these war fights. Well, not live recording, but commentating on them. So as you can see, I got that slow debuff on them, so it just makes this fight much easier. Don't have to worry about the footloose aspect. And I'm just constantly refreshing that slow every time I throw a special. And I also got that passive regeneration going on as well. So this is just a perfect fight at the end of the day. And there we go. So we actually healed 15% health. Could have healed more if I just decided to just cheese the willpower. But I decided to just get rid of that fight because if you mess up with Stealthy, he can punish you. So you don't want to mess around. So next fight here, we got Elsa Bloodstone, Ebb and Flow. Nothing too tricky about this fight. Of course, you always have to worry about her if she has suicide. So you never know if you're facing a suicide Elsa or not, because I've learned a lesson. Usually I'm pretty good about scouting opponents that have suicides because they have pretty high PIs when I look at their profiles, as it would be if it was normal. But sometimes you'll have people that'll place their defenders as normal, and then they'll use suicides when they're attacking to not punish them as suicide defenders, or vice versa. They'll put them as suicide defenders, but then when the war starts, they'll take suicides off. So then when you scout them, they have normal profiles. But I know that costs a lot of units to do that. So most of the time, the opponents, they don't have suicides in their profile, then their defenders are not. If they have suicides in their profile, chances are their defenders have suicides as well. Unless there's a big champion release that's going on, like when a new champion comes out that everybody's going after, then that's when I'm less skeptical about the actual suicides. More skeptical about it because a lot of people put on suicides for arena purposes, but then when the war starts, they'll take it off. So, but I don't think there was anything going on this weekend. I think it was like Punisher 99 or something like that. But yeah, you see that SP2 just murdered Elsa there. So there really wasn't much to that fight. Just bait SP1 is much easier to deal with. Now Tiger was a little bit of a tricky fight. Now she has one of those type of medium attacks where it just comes at you, so you can interrupt it. It's kind of like Domino's SP1, not SP1, but medium attack, and also Stealthies where you can dash back and then counter it with a light attack. I don't think I end up doing that at all in this particular fight, but it is possible to be done. So because I decided to just play it safe this fight, because in her SP1 it's easier to deal with, so that's the reason why I'm trying to bait that. So I get the placement of Elsa and Tigra on these two nodes. Like if you put them to 2 bars of power, their SB2s are much tougher to deal with, because Tigra's SB2 literally goes across the whole screen. I mean, and plus it can be unblockable, so it's just really good. You can see her SB1s are unblockable, but it takes some screen space, but nowhere near the SB2. The SB2 is just so elongated. Like I think Tigra would be a good placement on those that encroaching stun, that node 26, because her special just takes so long. If you don't have a special lined up, or if she throws her special right when that encroaching stun goes off, you're gonna get stunned for the duration of that special. So now we're starting to get a little cornered here, and like I said, I don't want to push her to her second bar of power, but at this point, I just decided to just go for it. I should have just did it anyway, because I still had that passive fury. So, and plus I had assassin, so got a little timid there, but then I decided to finish it off. So we're gonna have a second stealthy. I'm not sure why they placed 2 stealthy. Like I said, he's not that tough a defender. He has that evade that one time, and of course he's difficult to parry. I mean, you can parry him from a distance, but you can't parry his light attacks. And you see, I kind of mess up there. So I decided to use Storm Pyramid X for this fight, because I don't have any other fights with her. So we'll go ahead and place. I got a notification to place my defense, but usually I like to look at the defense at about an hour before the war starts. And I mess up again, so now we're getting a little sloppy. But this also has crumbling armor, so I do have that. I do have that going for me. This is also a person that you prefer to have to evade this SP1. But with Storm, but I've gotten used to evading his SP2. It's not that difficult. It's like 3 dash bats, just have to time them. But this fight didn't have to intercept too much here. Because this health pool is not that great, so I really didn't have to resort to that. And once again, I have that passive cold snap, so I don't have to worry about that evade there. So I go ahead and parry. So here's the SB2, so you can see how it's not too difficult to evade. It's three dash bats, but if it hits you, it'll hurt. So that's the reason why I prefer to bait the SB1, because it's not gonna punish you as bad if you do get hit by it. And right now, he's just not throwing any specials. He's just being stubborn. No play on words for the actual node. But as you can see, I was able to dex that. It's easier to dex if you're far away from the screen. If you try to do that from up close, then you run into problems. But there's the second stealthy. He's down. So at this stage, this one I realized that we got the war won, because someone had sent a notification in the chats that the opponent, like they literally left 2 groups, like sections open, and you saw that in the previous video. So because of that, I don't boost for these last fights. So I'm going straight into this Guillotine 99 fight with Magneto unboosted. But as you can see, it's just not going to matter when I get to his SP3, just how sick the damage is here. So we're just going to parry heavy. Just such a simple way to play. And as you see, the ability accuracy reduction, no Spectre debuff applied to me with that SB2. So, and this is gonna be fun. So right now she is at 65% health. I got 40 prowess charges, Now I have 41. She's at 62% health, perfect 20% damage. And the first crush, bam. I mean, that's just overkill. It's just straight overkill, man. It was crazy. So this next fight, this is a great placement. We actually place our kill marker here as well. It's not really too many counters for this. I saw the opponent actually one shot at him with Nick Fury, so I guess he can be a counter, but I think he had like a sliver of health left. So it's a tricky node here. I decided to do Sorcerer Supreme. The war is over, so I said, why not? So the idea, what I was gonna try to do here is to use the special attack when I have that passive Fury active to place an armor break, so that way I don't have to worry about the reverb. Because there are two dynamics going on with this node. Of course, you got polka dot power, so you can't gain power unless you apply a poison or incinerate to the opponent. The exception to that, as you can see here, is Sorcerer Supreme, Havoc, I believe Hyperion as well. Like people that have like power gain buffs or gain passive power, like Sorcerer Supreme, Symbiote Supreme, like Airwalker, what's his name, Dragon Man. So they can actually work, but the thing about those particular opponents is that none of them have armor break, so you still have to deal with the reverb. So at least with her, I can apply the armor break, but I can't stun. And as you see, I stunned right there. I messed up, and I'm just getting punished. And unfortunately, that's going to be the reason why I die, because I end up stunning the opponent again. I mean, usually after one stun, you're probably dead, but Killmonger doesn't really hit the hardest, so I was able to sustain the damage there. And so yeah, we're still hanging on. We're holding out on hope there. Like the reverb is still kicking in at times. And a lot of times you just have to ignore the stubborn aspect of the node. You have to, if you focus on stubborn, you end up forgetting what the actual main node is that can actually kill you. You just have to play around it at times. And I believe there's still, like, I actually still have a chance to win this one, believe it or not. If I can get the SP2 throne where I have that armor, where I can passively heal. So I have that armor active now. So now I got that regeneration on block active. So now I take block damage. I actually recuperate a lot of that back. And then he surprised me with a dash in. I wasn't ready. I was actually getting ready to hold back myself, and it just a perfect storm where I just parried him. But anyway, like I said, we won this war. That was the war that we lost last time. But this war, we did win. As you can see, it was like win, loss, win. So we're back in tier 4. But hope you guys enjoy, like, subscribe, and I will be posting another video later today.